Rain pours down on the Grand Grint estate, hinting at stormy news to come. Through a rain-streaked window, Catherine anxiously questions Sir Fernando, dreading his answer. The experienced physician, Sir Fernando, prepares to reveal the truth behind her symptoms. And the doctor's diagnosis hits hard. You are pregnant, leaving Catherine utterly stunned. What? Catherine gasps, realizing this unexpected news is the biggest crisis she's ever faced. She protests, "That's impossible," citing a recent, though unusually short, monthly cycle. Sir Fernando calmly inquires about the details, noting her period lasted only 2 days, not the usual week. Catherine clings to denial, insisting one single night couldn't possibly result in this. However, the doctor explains the early bleeding and missed cycle are clear indicators, much to her dismay. To cap it off, her once favorite pickled herring now provokes an overwhelming wave of nausea. Sir Fernando, ever the professional, suggests the Count must be informed immediately. But Catherine slams her hand down, a desperate "no" erupting from her. The doctor, taken aback by her vehemence, cautiously asks her alternative plan. Catherine, eyes wide with panic, pleads for secrecy until she can devise a solution. A bittersweet memory surfaces, her father adoring his precious youngest daughter. The weight of that adoration now crushes her as she imagines his reaction to an unwed pregnancy. Her darkest fear, disownment and severe repercussions from her family. Her trembling hand clutches his, a silent testament to her terror. Sir Fernando, witnessing her profound distress, looks genuinely worried for her. He attempts to soothe her, questioning if her father would truly resort to such extremes. Sir Fernando, ever the optimist, reminds her the Count even played matchmaker for her and Sir Moore. Catherine, however, seems to be sinking deeper into despair, a crucial detail hanging in the air. And most importantly, the doctor reasons, you're already engaged to be married. A sun-drenched memory surfaces, 9 long years pining for Sir Moore before finally becoming his fiancé. She tries to convince herself, right, we're getting married anyway, just a little accident. But as rain streaks the window, her mind blanks, tears threatening, because a darker truth looms. Because it's not, she whispers, shattering Sir Fernando's hopeful expression. What? He exclaims, utterly bewildered. Her eyes wide with a terrible secret, Catherine confesses, the baby's father. Through the rain-lashed window, the bombshell drops, isn't Sir Moore. A flashback begins, a letter being penned, revealing, this all began 1 month and 1 week ago. Catherine, lost in thought, pens a letter praising a smile that shines like a descending angel. Her poetic fancy takes a turn, imagining his back as an ocean she'd gallop across like a noble steed, before she hilariously self-corrects. Annoyed by a commotion outside, she demands, Amy, what's going on? Her creative flow utterly shattered. Amy reports a visitor from the tavern. The young master has apparently overindulged yet again. Seriously? Catherine sighs, as Amy confirms a carriage is being dispatched to retrieve him. A sudden realization dawns on Catherine. Wait, it was a night order party, wasn't it? Amy, aghast, stammers, my lady, surely you're not, sensing a reckless plan brewing. But Catherine just flashes a sly, determined grin, a glint of mischief in her eyes. Where do you think you're going? Amy cries as Catherine bolts, cheekily calling back, you already know! And just like that, a startled young man finds himself quite literally swept off his feet. With a wave, Catherine dashes off, telling Amy to assure her father Sir Moore will see her home safe. Ta-da! Surprise! Catherine bursts into the knight's party, much to the amusement of the attendees. A blushing Sir Moore looks up, utterly stunned to see his fiancée, Kaith, crashing their celebration. Her grand entrance into the all-male gathering? So far, so good, she thought. But then came the rookie error. Catherine admits she might have overdone it with the drinks. Under the moonlight, a concerned Sir Moore gently tells a swaying Catherine, you're drunk, let's get you home. Catherine, however, pouts defiantly, refusing to budge until she gets a kiss. She grabs him, frustrated. 2 years engaged and not 1 kiss? I get waiting for marriage, but come on. Sir Moore looks conflicted as Catherine presses, we're getting married anyway, what's the problem? Her bravado crumbles, revealing a heartbreaking insecurity. Sometimes I wonder if you even like me at all. That's why I need some kind of assurance, she pleads. I want to feel that we're truly in love. Sir Moore simply utters her name, Kaith, his expression unreadable under the dim light. He runs a hand through his hair, a bead of sweat betraying his inner turmoil. Covering his face, Sir Moore seems to be wrestling with a difficult confession. Then the bombshell drops as he turns away. To tell you the truth, there's someone else I like. Catherine's world tilts, her expression a perfect picture of, wait, what did he just say? Sir Moore, flustered, clarifies the engagement isn't the issue, but he can't give her the kiss she desires, yet. What are you even saying? Catherine cries, I thought you liked me. His only reply, a devastating, I'm sorry. Her eyes widen, the shock and hurt of his words hitting her full force. Are you serious? She demands. Then why did you propose to me? He coolly replies, you know love isn't the only reason people marry. Then you should have just said so, Catherine accuses. Instead of pretending to care? Did you pity me? Tears welling, she whispers, I really thought you, maybe not as much as I loved you, but at least a little. Sir Moore reaches for her hand, his voice flat. Let's go, it's too cold. But Catherine snatches her hand back, sharply commanding, move aside. I'm going alone, she declares, leaving a stunned Sir Moore calling her name. Kaith? She stumbles away, her elegant shoes unsteady on the cold, hard ground. Catherine walks off into the distance, a solitary figure, as Sir Moore watches her go. The stark truth hits. In the end, Sir Moore didn't stop me. He left her to stumble home, drunk and freezing, forcing her to confront a bitter reality. Tears streaming, the devastating realization dawns. Sir Moore never loved me. Back in the present, Catherine reflects with regret, I should have just gone home right then. Suddenly her brother pops in, what's got you so deep in thought, making her jump out of her skin? He apologizes, blaming pregnancy hormones for her jumpiness, then reveals he came because she never visited the training grounds. Alexander Grint, her brother, smirks knowingly. You're going to see Answer, aren't you? You can't fool these brotherly eyes. No, it's not like that, Catherine splutters, internally raging. Like I want to see that jerk again. Alexander, however, beams, remembering she said all the knight's little sisters came to cheer, so it was her turn for him. He pulls her into an adorable, proud, brotherly hug, my Kaith all grown up and here to cheer on her big brother. But as he gushes, a guilty conscience heart pops over Catherine. She's clearly not just there for him. As a carriage rumbles nearby, Catherine calls out, brother, and he turns. She then asks cautiously, about Sir Hurt. What kind of person is he? And Alexander identifies him. The captain? Alexander's imagination runs wild, picturing Sir Hurt as a terrifying demon, despite nervously insisting he's a good man. Catherine, ever so innocently, asks her brother if Sir Hurt is a potential love interest, sending Alexander into a sputtering panic. Love interest? Alexander practically shakes Catherine, demanding answers and suspecting she's ditching Answer, while she dramatically feigns faintness. Catherine, with a knowing look, assures her flustered brother he's wrong, cryptically adding, because as a regal image of Sir Hurt appears, Catherine internally declares, he's the father of the baby inside me. The scene shifts to the sun-drenched knight's training grounds, swords clashing with a satisfying ring. Whoa, it's huge! Catherine exclaims as she and Alexander survey the bustling 1st Knight Division's training area. A formidable knight approaches, offering to show Alexander Grint and his guests to a seating area. The knight, revealed to be the captain, coolly observes the training, his thoughts unreadable. Captain, good to see you. Alexander beams while Catherine eyes the man, silently questioning, Captain? Alexander explains to the captain that training wasn't scheduled, but his sister insisted on observing, while Catherine internally notes, been a month, huh? The formidable Terrius Hurt, commander-in-chief of the Spartan Empire, coolly responds, is that so? Catherine stares intently, her gaze fixed on the captain. Sir Hurt subtly glances back, his eyes meeting Catherine's. A tiny, bewildered Alexander senses the strange tension between Catherine and Sir Hurt, utterly confused. Sir Hurt dismisses Alexander to change, offering to escort Lady Grint, but a flustered Alexander insists he can manage. The captain's eyes narrow, his voice dropping as he firmly repeats, go get changed. Alexander, now visibly terrified, stammers a protest, but Sir Hurt cuts him off with a chilling, that's an order. A defeated Alexander trudges away, as Catherine observes, knowing you don't argue with the commander. Sir Hurt turns to Catherine, a faint, almost imperceptible smile playing on his lips. It's been a while, Lady Grint. Catherine, slightly flustered, confirms with a hesitant, "Yes, it has." Gathering her courage, she nervously begins, Commander Hurt, I have something to say. Catherine requests a private word, and Sir Hurt smoothly agrees to find a more secluded spot. The scene rewinds to 1 month ago, with Catherine stumbling alone down a dark, cold street. A voice cuts through the night. "Where are you going?" As a weary Catherine leans against a wall. Sir Hurt appears, observing she's dismissed her carriage, revealing he was the one who found her that fateful night. Catherine looks up, a flicker of surprise in her eyes. Commander Hurt? The truth hits. The man who stopped her wasn't Answer Moore, but Terrius Hurt. Sir Hurt questions Answer's gallantry for leaving her alone, but Catherine snaps, "Don't even mention Answer Moore." He stares, utterly stunned, as she declares with finality, "There's nothing between us anymore." Flashing back, Catherine, still on that cold street, addresses the commander directly. Then, with surprising boldness, she propositions a stunned Sir Hurt. "Want to spend the night with me?" Back in the present, Catherine cringes, burying her face in her hands. Drunk or not, I was clearly out of my mind. She reflects with wide eyes. I'd never even kissed Answer. Yet there I was with a man whose name I barely knew. The flashback shows a tense moment, a hand gripping fabric, hinting at what followed her audacious offer. Indeed, the past scene reveals Catherine and Sir Hurt locked in a passionate embrace. Their faces are incredibly close, the air thick with unspoken intensity from that night. Sir Hurt, looking serious, breaks the moment to ask Catherine, "You won't regret this?" He gives her an out. "If you've changed your mind, say so now." But she cheekily retorts, "Are you saying I'm not good enough?" Sir Hurt, beginning to unfasten his shirt, clarifies coolly, "No, I'm asking about you." Sir Hurt, with a confident smirk, declares he won't regret their night together. Back in the present, Catherine admits to herself, "Sure, it was good, but..." She sighs, never imagining that one impulsive night would lead to her current predicament. The scene shifts to the present meeting. Sir Hurt arrives, noting her tardiness and surprise at her visit. Catherine, caught off guard by his formal demeanor, internally fumes, "What the hell?" He stands there in full military regalia, making Catherine wonder, why the uniform? Sir Hurt places a small, ornate box on the table, and Catherine eyes it suspiciously. "What's this?" He explains it's a gift he tried to give her 3 times before, as Catherine realizes she was already pregnant then. Her eyes widen in a flash of understanding and surprise. The box opens to reveal a stunning, sparkling brooch, a designer piece no less. Catherine graciously accepts the stunning brooch, remarking on its rarity. She internally hopes this lavish gift will smooth the path for her big reveal, while he simply expresses his pleasure. Sir Hurt, ever direct, prompts her for the reason she sought this private meeting. Catherine, steeling her nerves, leans in, ready to drop a rather personal question. "Commander Hurt," she begins, "when exactly do you plan on getting married?" Leaving him momentarily stunned. She cheekily points out he's not exactly young and surely has suitors, making his single status a puzzle. Catherine probes further, questioning if it's a lack of the one or just a demanding career. Sir Hurt, unfazed, clarifies he's not one to rush into things or pressure anyone about marriage. He then aligns himself with her, suggesting their views on matrimony might be similar. Catherine's eyes widen as Sir Hurt drops a bombshell. "I don't plan on marrying." Catherine, wide-eyed, stammers, "What? I never said that," trying to deny her anti-marriage stance. Her mind races. Wait, as she realizes she did say something like that. The scene flashes back to that night, Sir Hurt in bed with Catherine asking, "Weren't you dating Moore with the intention of getting married?" A mortified Catherine from the past exclaims, When did I say that?" as Sir Hurt recalls her complaints about Answer. In the flashback, she boldly declares, "I'm not into marriage. I'm all for having fun, but being tied down? Hell no." Sir Hurt, listening intently in the past, processes her claim that she and Moore argued over differing values. He clarifies, "So he wanted to rush into marriage, and you just wanted to keep it casual?" Catherine, in the flashback, pokes his chest, affirming, "I'm more into cool, no-strings-attached relationships, the kind of thing you and I have going on tonight." She then points emphatically, "I absolutely, totally was not clinging to Moore, got it? You understand me?" Back in the present, Catherine is utterly humiliated, her chibi form sweating bullets as a tiny ghost of herself wails, "Wow, this is next level embarrassment." Sir Hurt, with a confident smirk, proposes, "So let's date," boasting he's a catch. Catherine internally freaks out. What the hell am I supposed to do? As Hurt paints himself as her best dating option. Flustered, Catherine stammers, "I'll think about it." While a mental note screams, "Today's lesson, don't lie ever again." Suddenly, a loud "blee" echoes from a nearby building, a clear sign of trouble. Indeed, Catherine is shown looking utterly green, muttering, I really can't eat this. Take it away." Her maid insists she must eat, but Catherine, weak on her bed, dramatically declares, "If you're going to make me eat, you might as well just kill me." The maid gently reminds her, "You can't keep hiding it as just the flu forever," adding that he's the father and she shouldn't suffer alone. Lying in bed, Catherine muses, "Still, wouldn't it be a good idea to meet with Lord Hurt once more?" admitting she's considered it. Back in their present meeting, Catherine carefully asks, "But Lord Hurt, don't you need a child to carry on the Hurt family name?" Sir Hurt coolly replies, "I don't need one," explaining his family isn't some ancient noble line, so what's the big deal? Catherine despairs in bed. "He said he doesn't need marriage or kids. How can I tell him I'm pregnant?" She imagines the harsh judgment. A noble lady, pregnant and unmarried, becoming the empire's juiciest gossip. Looking utterly lost, Catherine asks her maid, "Amy, what's going to happen to my life?" Amy chides, "You should have been more careful." But Catherine snaps back, I was careful, okay? Just a little tipsy." Catherine insists they took precautions, but Amy's chibi form reminds her, "Felgrim tea isn't 100% foolproof, you know." A furious chibi Catherine glares daggers at a very flustered Amy. "Amy, why are you so serious?" Catherine whines, pinching her maid's cheek. "Lord Fernando already lectured me." Just then, a knock at the door announces an unexpected visitor. "My lady, Sir Moore has come to visit." Catherine, startled, stares at Amy, who's still nursing her pinched cheek. "When I told him about your condition, he said he'd come back later," Amy explains, leaving Catherine utterly speechless. Catherine admits to herself, "At that point, I was definitely out of my mind." Sir Moore stands before her, utterly bewildered, asking why she's there and murmuring her name. Internally, Catherine fumes about welcoming the man who deceived her, as Moore explains he rushed over, worried sick. Moore notes her unwell appearance, completely oblivious to Catherine's simmering rage at his cluelessness. "It's none of your business now," Catherine snaps, turning away as a confused Moore questions her cold dismissal. Sir Moore looks utterly crestfallen, a bead of sweat betraying his unease at her sharp words. With her back still to him, Catherine finally utters a strained, "I'm really sorry about that night." Moore scoffs, "You know you're sorry?" while Catherine, eyes glinting, admits, "I have no excuse." He then boldly promises, "But Keith, our marriage won't be a problem, I swear to you." Catherine, aghast, retorts, "Seriously? You've got another woman but still want to marry me?" Moore dismisses the other woman, claiming it's one-sided and won't affect their marriage, but Catherine's not buying it. Catherine, utterly stunned, questions if he was even dating this supposed other woman. With a hand over his heart, Moore earnestly vows to make an effort, trying to look sincere. He then drops the little sister bomb, promising his feelings will magically change if she just waits. Moore desperately begs, "Keith, won't you give me just one chance?" as Catherine's patience wears thin. Internally, Catherine cringes. "I hate myself for almost falling for this," as she clutches her stomach. Looking down at a kneeling Moore, Catherine delivers the final blow. "I really think we should call off the wedding." Moore's face drains of color, stammering in disbelief. What do you mean by that?" Suddenly, he grabs her wrist, pleading, "Keith, I was wrong, I'm sorry," as Catherine recoils. Moore desperately argues that calling off the wedding means they can never go back, a thought he finds unbearable. Moore confesses he doesn't love her yet, but always envisioned her as his life partner. He desperately reminds her of their long history, questioning who else he could possibly marry. Catherine, with a wry internal sigh, marvels at the sight of Sir Moore actually begging her. She coolly tells him to calm down and, more importantly, release her hand. Moore, ignoring her, suddenly leans in for a kiss, vowing to make an effort. Catherine's eyes widen in sheer disbelief, utterly blindsided by his audacity. She forcefully shoves him back, demanding to know what on earth he thinks he's doing. Moore, looking bewildered, stammers that she was the one who wanted certainty. Tears welling, Catherine internally screams that this forced affection isn't what she meant at all. With a resounding slap, Catherine furiously clarifies she wanted proof of love, not a forced kiss, calling his actions disgusting. Catherine, done with his nonsense, orders Moore to leave, vowing to erase this whole disaster from her memory. A defeated Moore, finally getting the message, can only utter a quiet, "Got it." The scene shifts to a sun-drenched training ground where the clash of steel rings out as someone bellows, "Again!" Sir Hurt, ever the taskmaster, barks at a trainee, "Hey, back straight!" To which the trainee meekly replies, "Yes, sir." Hurt's intense gaze doesn't waver as he shouts once more, demanding they go, "Again!" During the drill, a silver-haired trainee falters, his swordsmanship momentarily failing him under pressure. The silver-haired noble, Alexander Grint, internally panics, "I screwed up," as his sparring partner, James Brown, sighs in resignation. Hurt immediately calls out Brown, "Who told you to drop your stance?" Brown stammers that Grint messed up, so he assumed they'd restart. Alexander Grint made a mistake? Hurt presses as Grint visibly trembles, and Brown insists he saw it. But Sir Hurt, with an infuriatingly calm smile, declares, "Sir Grint didn't make any mistake." Sir Hurt lays down the law. Spotting mistakes is his job, and Brown had no right to stop the drill. Hurt then turns his attention to a very nervous Sir Grint, who snaps to attention like a startled fawn. "Mind having a quick word with me alone?" Hurt asks, and Grint looks like he's seen a ghost. Turns out this terrifying commander is Therius Hurt, the Empire's most eligible bachelor and all-around golden boy. Not only did he become Supreme Commander at 28, but there's also a very peculiar rumor swirling about him. Grint recalls his friend's ominous well wishes. "At last, the day has come. You've got this. Good luck, buddy." With tear-filled eyes, Grint reluctantly follows the commander, clearly dreading this private chat. And what's this juicy rumor about the esteemed Therius Hurt, you ask? Apparently, the all-powerful commander has a massive one-sided crush on Alexander Grint. Cue a flustered ahem from Hurt. Grint internally panics. Sure, he gets special treatment, but being called aside like this? That's a terrifying first. Grint's mind races. Oh no, he's totally going to confess right now. He muses, a man who's never looked at a woman now blushing and calling me aside? Panic sets in. What if he asks me out? Rejecting the commander could ruin my career. As Hurt begins, Grint, our silver-haired knight, braces for the inevitable. Grint blurts out, "Commander, my little sister's sick. Can I please leave early to check on her?" Hurt's eye widens, clearly taken aback by this sudden, desperate plea. "Lady Grint is sick?" Grint forces a smile. "Yes, and father's too busy. So sorry, sis." "A patient can't be left alone." Hurt surprisingly agrees. "You may leave early, Sir Grint." As Grint tries to dash off, Hurt casually adds, "Oh, and I'll be stopping by your estate after training." Grint freezes, utterly flabbergasted, while Hurt innocently asks, "What's with the surprise?" Hurt claims it's been a month since Grint's promotion, feeling remiss for not checking in. Grint, aghast, insists it's unnecessary, but Hurt declares it his solemn duty as Supreme Commander. With a dazzling smile, Hurt adds he must personally thank Count Grint for raising such a stellar warrior. A sweating Grint forces a smile, his mind screaming, "This can't be happening!" Grint's internal panic escalates. Is Hurt skipping straight to meeting the parents for the final talk? Elsewhere, a concerned maid questions a blue-haired lady. "Do you really have to go see Catherine?" The maid suggests a pleasant outing to the capital's outskirts as an alternative, while tending to her mistress's hair. Glancing at her reflection, the blue-haired lady pointedly asks her maid why she dislikes Catherine so intensely. The maid denies disliking Catherine, confessing instead that something just feels off, making Catherine unreadable. A gentle smile plays on the blue-haired lady's lips in the mirror, as she muses it has indeed been a while since she last saw her. The blue-haired lady teases her maid, "Surely you're thrilled to see Catherine after all this time?" An unseen figure strides purposefully down the corridor, their approach marked by distinct footsteps. "Compose yourself, dear," the lady advises her maid with a slight smirk. "It's just a reunion." But the maid's sudden "eek" isn't for any expected guest. Her eyes are wide with genuine fright. "Goodness, what's the matter?" the lady begins to ask, turning towards the source of her maid's alarm. Before she can finish, a mysterious man swoops in, pulling her into a startling embrace from behind. His handsome face is a mask of sternness, giving nothing away as he holds her. The lady's face contorts in sheer terror, completely blindsided by this man's sudden appearance. A terrified cry suddenly pierces the air, shattering the calm of the grand estate. "You nearly caused a catastrophe," she gasps, clutching herself. "I almost lost the baby because of you." The mysterious man, completely unfazed by her outburst, bluntly asks, "Are you pregnant?" leaving the lady utterly stunned. Baby?" she internally shrieks, her hand clenching tight as the word echoes in her mind. Mortified and furious, she explodes. What kind of rude question is that to ask a lady? And with a surge of indignation, she lands a solid punch right on the unsuspecting man's chest. The impact sends a ripple through the room, her maid gasping as the lady herself seems to regret her impulsive strike. The man simply lets out a soft, "Ah," his expression unreadable after that unexpected blow. Caitlin immediately cringes. "Why did I just punch a strange man?" she internally wails, already regretting her life choices. "Just go die, Caitlin Grint," she mutters to herself, wishing the ground would swallow her whole as she still clings to his arm. But instead of anger, the man gently takes her hand, his touch surprisingly tender, making her look up in confusion. His gloved hand envelops hers, a silent, unexpected connection forming amidst the chaos. Caitlin stares, completely baffled by his gentle hold, question marks practically popping out of her head. A ghost of a smile plays on the mysterious man's lips, his eyes soft yet unreadable. The maid gasps, "My goodness," utterly scandalized by this intimate display. Now strolling outside, Caitlin scoffs. "Did you really think Big Brother would buy your excuse for visiting me?" "You're seriously hopeless," she exclaims. "Are you trying to announce our relationship to the whole neighborhood?" He calmly thinks. Only a guilty thief gets jumpy. No one's suspicious, clearly amused by her panic. Caitlin internally seethes. This man must be trying to cling to that damn partner relationship. Ugh, is he really this persistent after one night of fooling around? She fumes silently, watching him walk ahead. As their footsteps echo, she tentatively begins, Sir Hurt?" And he coolly replies, "Yes." Caitlin cuts to the chase. "You came to see me today. Should I take it as you wanting to maintain that convenient relationship?" Hurt, with a hint of a smile, simply confirms, "Yes." Caitlin beams. "Then for now, let's continue seeing each other," adding, "For the sake of the baby, at least the child should have a father." A surprised Hurt asks, "Really?" While Caitlin, undeterred, says she has one little question. She reminds him, "Sir Hurt, you said you didn't believe in marriage, but..." flashing an image of them in a passionate dance. Caitlin continues, imagining them at the altar. "If our, cool relationship continues..." With a hopeful smile, she pops the question, "Isn't it possible you might someday want to get married or something?" Hurt looks momentarily stunned, his usually composed expression showing a flicker of surprise. Caitlin nervously laughs, thinking he must hate the marriage talk, but quickly pivots. "Picture a cute, tiny baby." She describes an adorable infant with chubby cheeks, puckered lips, and hands the size of thumbs. An idyllic scene unfolds in her mind, Hurt holding their baby as she coos, "Imagine how happy you'd be with a cute little one just like you." Caitlin concludes her imagined presentation, confidently betting Sir Hurt will want a child one day. In her fantasy, a bespectacled Hurt ponders this deeply, remaining utterly silent. Back in reality, Caitlin casually tells Hurt, "No need to worry so much," leaving him a bit perplexed. Hurt smoothly declares, "Marriage, kids. I'm fine with all of that. Just being with you is enough for me." Caitlin is visibly stunned, her eyes wide at his unexpectedly accommodating words. Internally, however, she's aghast, thinking, what a world-class scumbag, basically saying, "I just want your body." Hurt abruptly cuts her off. "Let's stop this boring talk, it's making me depressed." As Caitlin protests, it's not that depressing. He then pivots, coolly asking, "Anyway, are you still seeing Lord Moore after that night?" Caitlin, hand to her chin, thoughtfully considers, I don't think I'll be seeing him anymore." Hurt presses on, "Is Lord Moore your type? You know, that flashy type?" As Caitlin admits his handsomeness wasn't the sole reason. Hurt presses for details, while Caitlin internally fumes. "Do I really have to explain everything? If it weren't for the baby, I'd seriously..." Caitlin begins her story. "When I was 12, I almost went through something terrible." She recounts an incident during the Second Spartan War. Prisoners escaped, leaving chaos in their wake. Right, you'd know, Sir Hurt, Caitlin remarks. You were deployed then, right? And he calmly confirms. I happened to get kidnapped by those prisoners, she reveals, a lone blue ribbon a stark reminder of her ordeal. Trapped in a tavern basement for a week, a young Caitlin huddled in fear, alone and vulnerable. She overheard her captors debating her fate, wondering if her noble status would save her or seal her doom. Just in the nick of time, Imperial Knights hunting the escapees burst in and rescued her. A kind knight held her, offering comfort, but Caitlin was too overwhelmed by tears to register much. I didn't even get a good look at his face, she admits, the image of his ornate uniform the only clear memory. What I do remember, Caitlin continues, is a massive greatsword piercing his right shoulder. She explains, he must have gotten injured protecting me while fighting those escapees. Hurt listens, his expression shifting slightly as she reveals her long-held belief. Yes, Caitlin exclaims with a twirl. It turned out that Knight was Answer. While Hurt visibly freezes. Hurt internally processes this. That was Answer more, his mind clearly racing. Caitlin glances back, perhaps noticing Hurt's sudden stillness as he asks, Really? Hurt, looking genuinely skeptical, presses, Are you sure you remember that correctly? He then poses a critical question. If he was so badly injured, wouldn't there be a scar? Does Answer more have one on his right shoulder? Caitlin falters, a large question mark popping up as she considers this. Well, I guess so. With a shrug, she hilariously admits, I don't know either. I've never seen Brother Answer's bare body, leaving Hurt speechless. Hurt cheekily retorts, Then you've seen my bare body first, as Caitlin, mortified, calls him a pervert. She lightly thumps his chest, exclaiming, What if someone hears that? While he just laughs it off. Suddenly, Hurt's gloved hand firmly grasps her wrist, stopping her protest. He pulls her closer, his other hand gently caressing her cheek, her eyes wide with surprise. Caitlin internally frets, Eh? Is something wrong? Why is he acting so strange all of a sudden? Why do you keep touching me? She stammers, to which he coolly replies, Because I want to touch you. His gloved fingers intertwine with hers as he internally confesses, I want to reach you. Hurt gazes at her, a smoldering intensity in his eyes, admitting to himself, Just looking at you excites me. Caitlin lets out a silent shriek, her face flushing crimson at his shockingly bold admission. Her mind whirls amidst a flurry of blushing kittens. What in the world is this man saying? As Hurt's shocking words echo, Caitlin's flustered mind jumps to a vivid memory. I often dream of that day. In her flashback, a kind, uniformed figure gently reassures a terrified young Caitlin, It's okay, don't be scared. The brave knight, despite a serious injury staining his right shoulder, promises, I'll get you home safely, asking her to count to 100. A tearful young Caitlin looks up in anguish, her small voice pleading, Don't! Her desperate plea hangs in the air, tears streaming down her face. Don't die. He pats her head reassuringly. It's okay, I won't die, as she sobs, feeling helpless but wanting to offer something. And then, with all the conviction a child can muster, young Caitlin blurts out her ultimate reward. I'll marry you later on. Oh, the sheer mortification. Present-day Caitlin mentally slams the brakes, cringing at her past, dramatic self. She recalls her 12-year-old logic, a noble's daughter, quite satisfied that offering marriage was the grandest thank you to her stoic, wounded hero. A tiny, internally fuming Caitlin decides it's crystal clear. This is all because of my father and his ridiculous advice. Caitlin blames her father's doting words for her childhood belief that marrying her was a grand prize. Little Caitlin, bless her heart, genuinely thought any man marrying her would be the luckiest alive. Back in the present, Caitlin admits that while the knight's face was a blur, his expression was unforgettable. In her memory, the mysterious knight, despite his pain, actually agreed, Yes, I'll wait. And young Caitlin, bless her dramatic soul, took that promise to heart. Right, you said you'd wait. The sheer, unadulterated cringe of her past proposal sends present-day Caitlin into a full-blown meltdown over Answer more. As Caitlin writhes in mortification on the sofa, a blonde woman enters, tea tray in hand, witnessing the spectacle. The newcomer, trying to stifle a giggle, clearly finds Caitlin's dramatic outburst rather amusing. With a knowing smile, the blonde woman Catherine innocently asks, You dreamed of Brother Answer? Catherine playfully teases a distraught Caitlin about her terrible expression, wondering why dreaming of Anseor would cause such distress. Catherine, ever the gentle friend, sweetly asks a still distressed Caitlin, "Does it hurt a lot?" Caitlin, melting under Catherine's soothing head pats, sighs, "Ah, that feels good. That really relieves my stress." We learn Catherine Bennington, daughter of the head maid Mrs. Merrill, has been Caitlin's rock since childhood. A flashback reveals Mrs. Merrill arrived at the Countess's household already heavily pregnant with Catherine. Caitlin's kind father, taking pity on the single mother-to-be, offered Mrs. Merrill a job and a small house. And so began a beautiful friendship, with young Caitlin and Catherine inseparable for over 20 years. Caitlin cherishes Catherine, her safe haven, her dearest friend, seen here as a happy child with a flower crown. Back in the present, a relaxed Caitlin looks up at her friend. "You know, Catherine," to which Catherine attentively replies, "Yes?" Caitlin then poses a curious question. "Didn't you miss your father when you were little?" Catherine thoughtfully responds she never knew her father's face, so how could she miss someone she doesn't even remember? Catherine, twirling Caitlin's hair, admits, "I don't miss him, but," leaving Caitlin hanging with a curious, "But?" With a sudden shift in tone, Catherine firmly declares from off-screen, "I do hate him." Her expression hardens as she confesses, "So much that if I could, I'd want to get revenge." Caitlin's eyes widen in surprise at her friend's unexpected vehemence, uttering a soft, "Ah." Catherine elaborates, her voice tinged with pain. "I watched my mother go through so much hardship." She reveals her father knew of her existence and her mother's struggles, as a flashback shows a man walking away from Mrs. Merrill and baby Catherine. Caitlin sits up, shocked. "This is news! You said you didn't know him?" Catherine clarifies her mother must know. A fierce anger flashes in Catherine's eyes as she vows, "I can never forgive that man who abandoned us." Caitlin, witnessing this rare display, laughs lightly. "First time seeing you so angry. Don't worry, you still have me." Catherine's anger melts into a warm, appreciative smile at Caitlin's comforting words. Catherine, ever perceptive, wonders why Caitlin suddenly brought up the topic of fathers. Caitlin, with a forced smile, brushes it off as mere curiosity, secretly fearing she'll end up a single mother herself. Deftly shifting gears, Catherine reaches for a cookie and casually inquires about Caitlin's situation with Anseor. With a cheerful grin, Catherine admits her burning curiosity about Anseor, both women now enjoying their sweet treats. Resting against her friend, Caitlin groans, "Honestly, I'm so sick of it," bracing for another Anseor-centric discussion. Internally, Caitlin fumes, convinced Anseor Moore is the root of all her problems, even wishing a lightning strike upon him. Taking a decisive bite of her cookie, Caitlin announces, "You know, I'm not going to marry brother Anseor," leaving Catherine momentarily stunned. Catherine's expression turns serious as she simply yet pointedly asks her friend, "Why?" Her eyes widening in disbelief, Catherine presses further. "You're not going to marry brother Anseor? Why on earth not?" As Caitlin vaguely starts to explain, Catherine leans in, a speculative glint in her eye. "Out of the blue? Did you fall for someone else?" Caitlin, mid-cookie, clarifies, "No, it's not like that. It's because Anseor doesn't like me." Catherine snatches Caitlin's hand, exclaiming, "No, Cath. Brother Anseor is just shy. That's why he keeps his distance." Caitlin sighs, her resolve firm. "No, he really doesn't like me. He said he likes another woman, so I'm done liking him too." Catherine listens, her expression unreadable as Caitlin drops the bombshell. Suddenly, Catherine's eyes blaze with an unexpected fury. "He really said that?" Caitlin, taken aback by her friend's fierce look, confirms, "Yes, I'll tell you exactly what he said." In a flashback, Anseor coldly tells Caitlin to go through with the engagement but to stop bothering him with romance. Caitlin, blushing with remembered humiliation, repeats his cutting words. "Because he already has someone he likes." Covering her face, Caitlin seethes, "Ah, just thinking about it makes my blood boil." While Catherine quietly processes, "So he really said that?" Caitlin defiantly grabs another cookie. "I'm fine, whatever. Plenty of fish in the sea, Cath." Catherine gently chides Caitlin. "How many years have you liked brother Anseor? Was it really a feeling you can just throw away like that?" Catherine insists, "Men's hearts change easily, but you're the only one for Anseor. Pull yourself together and endure it." Catherine reminds Caitlin of a past event. And that day you still remember, right? If it weren't for Brother Ansior, what would have happened to you? Caitlin, looking troubled, admits, "Yeah, I know it well, but," as Catherine firmly states, "Stop talking about it. I can't bring myself to tell you to give up on Brother Ansior." Catherine tenderly touches Caitlin's cheek, promising, "I'll give Brother Ansior a good scolding later, so please, don't let it weigh too heavily on your heart, okay?" Caitlin offers a small, grateful smile, whispering an apology to her devoted friend. With a hand on her stomach, Caitlin drops the real bombshell. "I think the child of another man in my belly. Ari has put an end to the 10-year relationship I built with Ansior." Caitlin finishes, a bittersweet smile playing on her lips. Caitlin muses that though she hasn't given birth, she expects the baby will strongly resemble its father, Therius Hurt. With a grimace, Caitlin thinks, "Just like that irritating man, this baby tormented me endlessly from inside my womb," as a tiny devil-horned baby thought bubble appears. Caitlin recalls her early pregnancy, where every bite of food made a swift exit, leaving her rail thin. To add insult to injury, she suffered from such severe constipation that bathroom trips became a living nightmare. Utterly drained, Caitlin spent most days bedridden, prompting a worried Catherine to check if she was even still breathing. Caitlin felt so awful she imagined her spirit ascending, while Catherine and a concerned Mr. Fernando begged her not to give up. Weekly, Caitlin asks Mr. Fernando how much longer she must endure this half-dead existence, desperate for an end to her suffering. Mr. Fernando delivers the grim news. She'll likely have to endure this torment for another whole month, much to Caitlin's despair. "Another month?" Caitlin shrieks, bolting upright, utterly horrified by the prospect, as Catherine urges her to calm down for the baby's sake. Later, as Mr. Fernando checks in, Catherine gently asks if Caitlin feels well enough for today's event, or if she should cancel. Catherine reveals today is the Imperial First Knights Order's regular gathering, and plot twist, it's happening right at their house. Turns out Caitlin's father is hosting the event to celebrate none other than Ansior's recent promotion. Oh, the irony. Caitlin, hand to her forehead, sighs that skipping an event in her own house would just invite unwanted questions, as Amy eagerly offers to help her prepare. Noticing her maid's unusual pep, Caitlin asks Amy why she's so thrilled, only to hear it's because Lord Hurt is attending. Amy, practically swooning while clutching a hairbrush, gushes to Mr. Fernando about Lord Hurt's recent visit. "His eyes were practically dripping honey when he looked at Our Lady," Amy exclaims, as Mr. Fernando listens with a curious, "Ooh, really?" Amy confesses it was her first time seeing Lord Hurt, admitting she'd heard he resembled a grumpy bandit, but found him quite the opposite. As a dashing image of Therius Hurt appears, Amy praises his super-manly and bold, refreshing look, while a tiny Caitlin scoffs internally about his intimidating scowl. Amy boldly declares Lord Hurt 50 million times better than Lord Moore, adding that Lord Moore's handsomeness is almost too much. Then Amy drops a bombshell, speculating Lord Moore just seems like he'd be terrible in bed, causing Caitlin to spit-take her water. "What are you even saying? You have no filter at all," Caitlin scolds, pinching Amy's cheek, as Mr. Fernando watches with mild alarm. Cutting through the light-hearted moment, Mr. Fernando gravely asks Caitlin, "When are you planning to tell the Count?" Leaving her stunned. Mr. Fernando reveals he just dodged the Count's worried questions about Caitlin, blaming a regular flu. Caitlin plans to delay telling her father, hoping her belly won't betray her secret too soon, but Mr. Fernando warns time is ticking. Amy, ever the pragmatist, pipes up, "My lady, you should tell Lord Hurt before you tell the master." Caitlin, flabbergasted, tries to silence a shocked Amy who realizes Lord Hurt is also in the dark. "It's not that I didn't want to tell him," Caitlin stammers, promising she'll get around to it, eventually. Caitlin internally strategizes how to gently introduce the idea of family to a man famously averse to marriage and kids. Overwhelmed, Caitlin groans. As if a demanding baby wasn't enough, now she has this monumental confession to make. Amy, ever optimistic, reassures her, "You're just scared. He might even be happy about it, my lady." "Wear the brooch Lord Hurt gave you," Amy suggests, while Caitlin, facing the mirror, marvels at her maid's blissful ignorance. Meanwhile, Caitlin feels the weight of the world, sighing as if her personal universe is on the brink of collapse. Under the glow of a full moon, a dapper Shu steps onto the scene, heralding a late-night confrontation. Catherine, resplendent in white, coolly addresses her approaching brother Anseor. Anseor, adorned with a familiar brooch, turns, caught unawares by his sister's sudden appearance. In a shocking turn, Anseor drops to his knees before Catherine, who looms over him with an air of judgment. Catherine delivers the news with a chilling smile. Caitlin came yesterday. She said she's not going to marry you. Anseor's eyes widen in pure, unadulterated shock, the news hitting him like a physical blow. Stuttering, Anseor tries to downplay the crisis, promising Catherine he'll smooth things over with Caitlin. Catherine's gaze turns glacial, questioning if Anseor understands the depth of Caitlin's years of devotion. Anseor can only utter Catherine's name, his face a mask of dawning realization and perhaps regret. With an almost divine pronouncement, Catherine warns Anseor there's no second chance, declaring her loyalty lies with Catherine Grint's man. Leaning in, Catherine caresses Anseor's cheek, delivering a chilling clarification. Her loyalty is to a man who is not Answer Moore. Yet, in the very next breath, she stuns everyone by pulling Anseor into a deep kiss, surrounded by ethereal blue roses. Anseor's inner voice sighs, "Ah, Catherine," confessing he can't be patient with her anymore, calling her "my love." Lost in the moment, Anseor thinks Catherine's beauty is utterly blinding, even now. The scene shifts abruptly, announcing, "Today is the Imperial Knights' regular gathering." The scene cuts to Caitlin, resplendent in blue, attending this very promotion party for brother Alex, inconveniently held at her family's estate. With a weary glance, Caitlin internally sighs, "Anyway," resigned to the unfolding social obligations. She observes the hall, noting it's a night order gathering, supposedly full of burly men. Yet Caitlin can't help but question the choice of a chamber orchestra, far more suited to a noble women's tea party. Sipping her drink with a hint of disdain, Caitlin muses that if her mother were alive, the party wouldn't be so excessively grand. And to top it all off, Caitlin internally groans, "What's with this insane seating arrangement?" Catherine's father, Count Grint, proudly toasts, declaring he knew Alexander would succeed since he was 6. Anseor chimes in, "That's right," recalling he thought Sir Grint was remarkable talent from their first meeting. Caitlin side-eyes Anseor, thinking, "Unexpected, feels like you're just trying to get on father's good side." Count Grint beams, "My son is truly talented just like me," as a blushing Alexander begs him to stop. "I'm the one getting embarrassed here," Caitlin thinks, desperately hoping the awkward spotlight stays on brother Alex. But no such luck. The Count exclaims, "And I can't not talk about our little princess," as Caitlin internally screams, "Dad, please." With a wistful look, Count Grint confesses he was overjoyed beyond words when his precious daughter was born. He even shares a tender memory of baby Caitlin babbling, "Abba, Abba," a thrill only a parent understands. Caitlin despairs, "Why bring up baby stories to a man who hates marriage and kids?" As Anseor politely remarks, "Ha ha, I bet she was adorable." Count Grint beams, "Isn't she still adorable?" adding she takes after her mother with her fair skin and sparkling eyes, as Caitlin looks startled. "You! Oh, how can someone be that pretty?" the Count gushes, while Caitlin nervously chuckles. "Father?" Anseor smoothly agrees, "Yes, you're right," claiming he hasn't seen a lady as beautiful as Lady Grint even in the capital. Caitlin's eyes widen in disbelief, her internal monologue starting with a sharp, "What the heck is he even saying?" she silently exclaims, nearly fumbling her drink in utter shock at Anseor's audacity. Her father sighs dramatically, wishing to keep his little princess forever, but then cheekily adds she'd need to love Anseor enough for that, making Caitlin internally plead, "Dad, seriously, please stop." Caitlin forces a laugh. "Father, haha, what are you even talking about?" while seething internally about his knack for hitting sore spots. The Count continues, saying Anseor is like a son, so he's not really worried, but a father's heart, you know. As Caitlin grips her glass, silently screaming for him to stop. Suddenly, a deep voice cuts in. "Ah, so Sir Moore and Lady Grint were in a romantic relationship? I didn't know that." As Caitlin, Anseor, and even Alex look towards the speaker. Lord Hurt, with a knowing smirk, continues, "I had heard Lady Grint was seeing someone else, isn't that right?" Directly challenging the narrative. Caitlin internally panics, wondering what kind of answer Lord Hurt is even expecting from her. Anseor smoothly interjects, telling the captain he must have heard a false rumor, while Caitlin's father and brother look on, puzzled. Ansior then drops a bombshell, boldly stating, Kaith and I were indeed in a romantic relationship. We are meeting with marriage in mind. Lord Hurt, hand to his chin, eyes Ansior with a skeptical, really? Sparks practically fly as the tension between Lord Hurt and Ansior crackles, with Caitlin caught squarely in the middle. Caitlin, trying to play it cool, giggles, Brother Answer too. How long do you plan to keep bringing up things said in our foolish childhood? Hey. Her father, brother Alex, and even Ansir stare, mouths agape at Caitlin's sudden, almost manic attempt to deflect. Ah, the fruit is really fresh. Please try some, Caitlin exclaims, a hilariously random comment to break the ice. She then takes a large, almost desperate bite of an orange, declaring it delicious. Caitlin marvels that oranges go down smoothly despite her morning sickness, as a bewildered Alex stammers, Do you like it? Alex, ever observant, notes Caitlin's unusual craving for oranges, wondering if she overdid it. Lord Hurt, with a hint of a smile, comments it's good to see Caitlin enjoying her food. He pauses, a glint in his eye, before smoothly continuing his observation. Lord Hurt then compliments Caitlin's brooch, remarking how well the pretty accessory suits her. Caitlin internally questions the sudden, almost pointed attention she's receiving from Lord Hurt. A subtle, almost strained smile plays on Caitlin's lips as she navigates the loaded atmosphere. The room buzzes with unspoken understanding. Everyone can feel the strange tension between Caitlin and Lord Hurt. Deciding to roll with it, Caitlin brightly thanks Sir Hurt, promising to wear his gift often. Internally, Caitlin steels her resolve. This chaos is a chance to finally sort things with Ansior and reveal her secret. As a waiter offers herring millefeuille, Caitlin feels a sense of decisiveness, thinking, this settles it. Just as Caitlin steels her resolve, the smell of herring triggers a wave of nausea, her eyes squeezing shut. Oh, damn it! Caitlin internally pleads with her baby. Not now, please be more aware, as morning sickness hits hard. She forces a strained laugh, weakly insisting, Haha, I'm fine. But her face tells a different story. Suddenly, Caitlin lurches from her seat, a hand clamped over her mouth, the ooh-ah escaping her. Without a word, Caitlin bolts from the dining hall, leaving a stunned silence in her wake. Lord Hurt, ever so helpful, offers to check on her, but Count Grint politely declines, waving him off. The Count then turns to Ansior. Answer, could you go check on Kaith for me? And Ansior readily agrees. Ansior rises, his expression unreadable, and heads off to find the distressed Caitlin. Reaching a closed door, Ansior calls out with concern, Are you okay? Where exactly does it hurt, and how? But it's brother Alex by her bedside when Caitlin, looking pale but composed, murmurs, I'm fine now. Alex gently pleads, Kaith, please stop being angry, okay? Even if it was a joke, hearing you say that made me feel bad. Caitlin, eyes cool, retorts from her bed, What do you mean? That your relationship with older brother is nothing special? That wasn't a joke? She shuts her eyes, firmly stating, Sorry, but I don't want to talk about this topic with older brother ever again. Even if he breaks up with that girl he likes, I don't want him anymore. Her hands clench over her stomach as she thinks, To be honest, if I'm honest, it's not that I won't do it, but that I can't. Alex, looking concerned, softly asks, Why are you being so stubborn like this? Caitlin snaps upright. Stubbornness? Kaith, please. I'm having such a hard time. Is it harder than me, who has been clueless for 10 years, just blindly following older brother? Alex looks down, murmuring, I'm sorry. I'll do better from now on. But Caitlin scoffs. What good would it do if older brother did well? I have no intention of doing anything. In a tender gesture, Alex gently takes Caitlin's hand. He looks her earnestly in the eyes, vowing, If you want something, just say it. I'll do anything. Caitlin stares, a sudden realization dawning. Why didn't I realize it for 10 years? I could have known just by looking closely. Caitlin reflects that in Ansior's gaze directed at her, there was absolutely nothing, a void that brought utter despair. Alex, still holding her hand, earnestly repeats, Tell me if there's anything you want. I'll do anything. Caitlin sharply pulls her hand away, thinking he should have said that before blabbering about another woman. She muses that her past self, desperate to impress him, would have found this easy. Sorry, but I'm not an idiot, Caitlin declares, adding she's no longer interested in being his insurance policy. With cold finality, she tells Alex, Get out, or should I leave? Alex suddenly grabs her arm, his grip surprisingly tight. Caitlin looks up, startled by his forceful action as he clenches her arm. Let go. It hurts, she winces, then bafflingly wonders, why am I thinking of Sir Hurt in this situation? Caitlin flashes back to Sir Hurt's gentle wrist grab, a stark contrast to Alex's current painful hold. Alex tightens his grip, questioning if Caitlin truly believes she can erase a decade between them. Defiantly, Caitlin retorts, we'll see if I try, hinting the past isn't quite buried. A flicker of genuine confusion crosses Caitlin's face. His actions make no sense. She internally fumes, wondering why he's clinging to her after declaring his heart belonged to another. Caitlin confesses lingering feelings, but firmly states their relationship is off the table, urging him to pursue his other interest. Her expression hardens, resolve etched on her face as she lays down the law. Alex yanks her closer, ignoring her protests with a possessive no. He silences her with his hand, Caitlin aghast at his sudden, desperate move. Just as Alex steals a kiss, a voice from outside the door calls for Lord Moore, interrupting their dramatic moment. Just as Alex makes his move, Caitlin's internal cry for help is for none other than Hurt Terrius. Her protest is muffled, her eyes wide with shock at Alex's audacity. Caitlin struggles, wondering if Ansior has completely lost his mind, holding her captive. A chilling intensity radiates from Alex, a stark contrast to Caitlin's terrified gaze. This isn't the Ansior she knew. Fear grips Caitlin as a knock at the door offers a sliver of hope. Desperate, Caitlin mentally screams for her rescuer, hoping they notice her plight. Outside, a gloved hand pauses, a silent presence at the threshold of the tense room. The ornate door stands as a barrier, but the sound of footsteps hints at an imminent interruption. A single tear escapes Caitlin's eye, a testament to her fear and helplessness. Tears stream down her face as Alex maintains his hold, the situation growing more dire by the second. Alex, looking somewhat remorseful, finally utters a weak, "I'm sorry," as Caitlin's tears continue to fall. Overwhelmed and sobbing, Caitlin can only manage a choked, "You?" between hiccuping cries. Suddenly, Sir Hurt bursts in, and Caitlin, fueled by righteous fury, yanks her hand from Alex, spitting, "You dog!" Caitlin, still tearful, instinctively reaches out to her rescuer, whimpering, "Hurt, Sir Hurt?" as he takes in the scene. Sir Hurt's gaze sharpens, a dangerous glint in his eye revealing his barely contained fury. With determined strides, Sir Hurt advances, his polished boots echoing the gravity of the moment. Sir Hurt unsheathes his sword, icily invoking the knighthood's iron rule against those who dishonor chivalry. Alex pales slightly, a bead of sweat forming as Sir Hurt coolly asks, "Any objections?" Caitlin internally panics, her chibi form screaming, "Summary execution? This is escalating way too fast." "Stop!" Caitlin blurts, surprisingly shielding Alex, insisting to Sir Hurt, "It was just a small argument, nothing warranting that." Alex stares, utterly baffled as Caitlin defends him with a desperate, "That..." Caitlin clings to Sir Hurt's sword arm, tearfully begging, "Please put that sword down. I can't let Ansior be dealt with in my room." Alex looks down, a flicker of understanding or perhaps shame crossing his face. Sir Hurt, though slightly lowering his blade, addresses Alex directly. "Ansior Moore, I saw your transgression. You won't deny it, will you?" As the chandelier gleams, Sir Hurt announces a formal proceeding. "I'll open the défi d'honneur." Sir Hurt declares, with Caitlin and Alex present, "Right here, right now. The challenge is set." A flashback explains the défi d'honneur, an ancient term for opportunity, a more lenient path for knights who've strayed. While severe punishment is typical for dishonorable knights, the défi d'honneur offers a rare, final chance. It's an honorable duel witnessed by peers where the superior intentionally gives the subordinate a fighting chance. This tradition signifies forgiveness, a long-standing ritual now invoked for Alex and Sir Hurt. Caitlin's father appears, demanding to know what Ansior did to deserve a défi d'honneur right then and there. He recounts Sir Hurt's baffling request to borrow the training grounds and for him to witness the duel. Cornered by her father and brother, Caitlin feigns ignorance, claiming she's not sure about the whole ordeal. Internally, Caitlin panics, realizing if she spills the beans, her family might just skip the duel and go straight for Ansior's throat. Her father gives her a long, silent stare, clearly not buying her "I'm not sure" act for a second. The tension hangs heavy as her father seems to process the gravity of the unspoken situation. Caitlin anxiously whispers to her brother, probing if there's any chance the superior doesn't lose in these duels. Her brother confirms her fears, stating that a superior winning in a défi d'honneur is practically unheard of. Another knight clarifies the grim tradition. The superior's loss is forgiveness, making it utterly shameful for the offending knight not to seize this chance. Alex listens as the harsh reality sinks in. This duel means he's deemed worthy of severe punishment, but circumstances prevent it, stripping him of honor regardless. Caitlin gasps, external pressure? Connecting the dots about Sir Hert's expected loss. Her brother grimly asks, then what happens to knights who lose in a défi d'honneur? Revealing all subordinates so far have met a dire end. What? Caitlin exclaims. Learning they felt living was so shameful, they probably chose to end things. Her brother clarifies, disgraced beyond redemption, so they all chose to end their lives. Or at least I assume so, leaving Caitlin aghast. Swords clash with a resounding kahang as the duel between Alex and Sir Hert is underway. The brother explains that even if they avoided the duel, the sheer scrutiny within the knight's order would have been unbearable. Caitlin has a chilling thought. That's it. That's exactly what Terrius Hert wanted, suspecting a darker motive. The duel rages, Alex and Sir Hert locked in a tense, close-quarters sword fight. Alex's eyes burn with fierce resolve, pushing back against Sir Hert's blade with all his might. Observing the struggle, Caitlin thinks, looking at it like this, even brother Ansior seems pitiful. Alex fights fiercely, but in the Spiritan Empire, skill dictates rank, and without Sir Hert holding back, Ansior's victory is impossible. Yet Sir Hert fights with full force, sending Alex's sword flying in a shocking display. Caitlin and the crowd gasp, utterly stunned by this unexpected turn of events. Alex kneels, disarmed, as onlookers murmur in disbelief. Their superior actually won the défi d'honneur. Sir Hert leans down to the defeated Alex, a private moment amidst the public shock. A hushed word passes between them, unheard by the stunned audience. Sir Hert then rises and walks away, leaving a devastated Ansior behind. Caitlin watches, her mind racing. What happens now to brother Ansior? News of yesterday's unprecedented duel has already swept through the entire capital. Whispers abound. Ansior Moore is alive, secluded in his estate, prompting one noble to sneer at his apparent lack of resolve. Glenn, the ever-proper steward, questions Sir Hert's apparent lack of sympathy for a potentially doomed Ansior. Sir Hert, with a knowing sigh, coolly deduces the whole mess boils down to her, the lady from Grint. Glenn frets about Sir Hert's reputation, but the knight couldn't care less about public opinion. Writing furiously, Sir Hert admits Caitlin's intervention foiled his initial, more direct plans for Ansior. His knuckles white, Sir Hert's true, terrifying rage at Ansior flashes, prompting Glenn's dry remark on his menacing look. Glenn wisely suggests Sir Hert keep his destructive personality under wraps, lest he scare Caitlin away for good. Sir Hert abruptly changes topics, demanding to know the Grint household's physician, much to Glenn's surprise. With a new plan brewing, Sir Hert orders Glenn to summon Sir Victor Fernando to his estate immediately. Meanwhile, Caitlin recounts the chaotic events to her family, explaining Ansior's sudden arrival followed by Sir Hert. She finishes her tale, looking utterly drained, explaining how the défi d'honneur was so abruptly declared. Her father and brother are utterly stunned by Caitlin's account of the défi d'honneur. Father Grint slams his fist, demanding to know why Sir Hert didn't immediately punish Ansior for his actions. Caitlin bravely admits, "That wasn't Lord Hert's decision, Father. I stopped him." Her father gasps, clearly taken aback by his daughter's direct intervention. A tense silence follows as Father Grint absorbs the weight of Caitlin's confession. Without a word, her father abruptly rises and turns his back on her. He walks away, leaving a dejected Caitlin to watch him go, a silent question hanging in the air. Caitlin, voice trembling, asks her brother, "Is Father angry?" Her brother Alec offers a comforting gesture, softly calling her Kate and beckoning her closer. Overwhelmed, Caitlin bursts into tears, looking to her brother for solace. Caitlin throws herself into Alec's embrace, seeking comfort. Sobbing uncontrollably, Caitlin clings to her brother, letting out all her pent-up emotions. Alec, ever the teasing brother, quips about her pretty face being her only gift, earning a startled "what?" from Caitlin. He then reassures her father isn't truly angry, just majorly disappointed, and likely fantasizing about rearranging Ansior's anatomy. Wiping her tears, Caitlin asks why he thinks her calling off the marriage was for the best. Alec gently cups her face, delivering the hard truth. Because I knew Ansier never truly loved you. Her brother's heartfelt wish for her future happiness with someone who truly cherishes her brings a glimmer of hope to Caitlyn's tear-streaked face. Alec's kind eyes and gentle smile offer a beacon of unwavering sibling support. He then lays down the law. Whether she's forgiven Ansior or not, he's not about to interfere with the duel's aftermath or offer any aid. Despite Caitlyn's desperate plea, Alec stands firm, admitting he has zero inclination to help Ansior at this moment. Caitlyn confesses it's not forgiveness. The thought of someone dying because of me is horrifying, especially Ansior. Alec gets it, but warns that letting Ansior off scot-free would make their family a laughingstock. Gently patting her head, Alec reveals their father is even more determined to see justice done. He then urges an exhausted Caitlyn to get some proper rest, a soft touch from the usually teasing brother. Elsewhere, the distinguished Sir Victor Fernando makes a polite entrance. Sir Hurt, ever direct, confirms with a thoughtful pose. I heard you serve as the physician for Count Grint's household. Is that correct? Sir Victor muses, she was on the verge of death? Wasn't that just exaggeration? What is the issue? Sir Hurt, hand to his head, sighs. So that's the narrative they've set up. Clearly seeing through the charade. Leaning forward, Sir Hurt presses, I heard the young lady of Grint is gravely ill. Could you tell me exactly what's wrong? Sir Victor pauses, a knowing glint in his eye, internally debating. My lady, wouldn't it be best to tell the truth as soon as possible? Sir Victor recalls Caitlyn's past confession. Lord Hurt opposes marriage, so she simply agreed to casual meetings. The physician remembers Caitlyn's fear. What if telling Hurt the truth meant accusations of ruining his life? He even recalls her desperate thought. Wouldn't it be better to raise the child alone in silence? Sir Victor, internally chiding Caitlyn's naivety, confirms his role to Sir Hurt, but pointedly asks, why do you want to know? The doctor then lays down the law. Patient confidentiality stands unless, of course, Lord Hurt and Lady Grint are married. Sir Hurt pauses, a thoughtful, escaping his lips as he processes the physician's firm stance. With surprising insight, Sir Hurt then inquires, 6 weeks? No, 7 weeks along, is that correct? Leaving Sir Victor stunned. The physician internally panics. Did she tell him about the pregnancy? If so, I can speak freely. Sir Victor, choosing his words carefully, acknowledges Hurt's anti-marriage views but points out, with a child involved, outright rejection is hardly reasonable. Sir Hurt's composure shatters. Wait, are you saying there really is a child? The news hits him like a thunderbolt. Sir Victor is utterly floored, wondering if Sir Hurt's pinpoint guess was just a wild stab in the dark. Sir Hurt flashes back to Glenn's childhood story. His own mother couldn't stand sour foods. Glenn had elaborated, saying she wouldn't even let a fully ripe orange near her lips. Yet, when pregnant with Sir Hurt, she suddenly craved only oranges, a classic pregnancy quirk. Young Hurt remembers Glenn explaining how morning sickness made his mother lose weight, unable to stomach her favorites. Suddenly, like a bolt from the blue, Sir Hurt recalls a crucial detail his wet nurse once shared. He remembers Caitlyn at dinner, coughing delicately near a plate featuring herring, and notably, lemon. Sir Hurt's mind races, connecting the dots with a dawning, intense realization. He knew Caitlyn loved herring fillet but disliked sour things. Could this mean what he thinks it means? The devastating truth hits him. No way. Caitlyn Grint, pregnant. His world just tilted on its axis. Sir Victor, glasses askew, practically vibrates with righteous indignation. Sir Hurt recoils slightly, clearly unprepared for the physician's impending verbal onslaught. The doctor schools Sir Hurt on the basic facts of life. Relations can lead to pregnancy, Lord Hurt. Shocking, I know. Sir Hurt, looking utterly chagrined, admits his oversight, confessing he thought he'd been careful. Sir Victor unleashes a tirade, calling Hurt a fool for his naive assumptions about responsibility and contraception. But then a spark. Sir Hurt defiantly asks, who says I won't take responsibility? Remembering Caitlyn's words. With newfound resolve, Sir Hurt bellows Sir Fernando's name, ready to make a stand. He slams his hand down, declaring, she's carrying my child. Of course, I'll take responsibility. A confident, almost smug Sir Hurt clenches his fist. Abandon her? Never. I'm not that kind of man. Sir Hurt makes a dash for the door. Destination. Count Grint's house, leaving a bewildered Sir Victor and his tea behind. Sir Victor dryly notes the impossibility of drinking tea that's now a puddle on the floor. Sir Hurt, already halfway out the door, hastily thanks the physician for his care of Kaith. With an ungraceful, "Ugh!" Sir Hurt nearly trips over his own feet, making a frantic exit. The good doctor is left utterly baffled by Hurt's sudden, dramatic departure. Sir Hurt sprints down a long, opulent hallway, a man on a mission. He recalls Caitlin's confusion. Despite his free love talk, he kept mentioning marriage and babies. A flashback shows an eager Caitlin asking him directly about his marriage plans. Hurt remembers his own casual dismissal. "For now, let's just keep seeing each other." He even pictures Caitlin, beaming as she imagined the cute face of a newborn baby. Sir Hurt realizes mid-stride that he'd misinterpreted her hints as tests, leading him to say things he never truly felt. Sir Hurt recalls Caitlin's innocent joy, simply happy for their immediate meeting. He berates himself. "I should have noticed something was off, but I carelessly overlooked it, remembering that dinner." "Damn it!" he internally rages. "How was I to know if she said nothing? How many days did she suffer alone?" As maids hurry by, the maids nearly leap out of their skins as their master, a human cannonball, blasts past them. "Was that just the master?" One stammers, the other wide-eyed. "I think so, but—" They try to reconcile the frantic blur with the memory of Sir Hurt's usual bright, charming smile. Meanwhile, Caitlin, before her mirror, hand on her stomach, despairs. "What should I do? If only you hadn't been so picky about that herring." Her blame shifts. "No, how could that be the baby's fault? If only I hadn't begged Therian Hurt to be with me just once." Then another wave of thought. No, why is that my fault? If only Anseor Moore hadn't played with me for 10 years. Yet even as she seethes at Anseor, the mere thought of him taking his own life makes her head spin. Caitlin muses that Anseor's demise would only punish her with lifelong guilt, not him. She'd imagined Therian Hurt would simply challenge Anseor, and Anseor would quietly concede. But a duel in a private home? That's a scandal, not chivalry, and the gossips would have a field day. Defeated, Caitlin slumps against her mirror, sighing, "This is all because of herring fillet." Addressing her belly, she playfully scolds, "Baby, are you listening? I'm blaming the herring, but it's really you, being so picky already." As a hand gestures to a breakfast tray, Caitlin continues, "I can already picture your complaints about side dishes when you're born." Suddenly, Caitlin looks up, a surprised, "Huh?" escaping her lips as she realizes she's not alone. Her brother Alex stands there, a dropped tray at his feet, aghast. "Kaith, what did you just call me, brother?" Alex's eyes widen in sheer shock. "You don't tell me?" While Caitlin internally panics. "Did he hear?" The opulent room seems to hold its breath, the unspoken question hanging, is what Alex is suspecting true? Her father, Count Grint, reels in disbelief, hand clapped to his mouth, demanding, "Is it true, baby?" Caitlin, caught red-handed, can only offer a nervous silence and some frantic finger-twiddling. The Count dramatically faints, exclaiming, "Oh my!" as Alex rushes to catch him, and Caitlin cries out, "Father!" Recovering slightly, the Count orders Alex, "Contact Count Moore's house. We can't have that fellow dying on us." Alex gives a sharp, disappointed look towards a now tiny, dejected Caitlin on the sofa. Caitlin internally seethes. He tattled to father immediately. So much for trusting anyone. Picturing her angelic brother. A single bead of sweat traces Caitlin's cheek as she braces for the inevitable fallout. Alex, ever the dutiful son, approaches his still stressed father. "Dad, actually..." Caitlin drops the bombshell, her voice low. "The baby's father isn't brother Anseor." The room explodes in stunned silence, Alex gasping, "What?" as both men stare, utterly floored by this new revelation. The Count's mansion practically echoes with the aftershock of Caitlin's revelation. What did you say?" Her father, utterly bewildered, demands, "Then who on earth is the baby's father?" A horrifying thought dawns on Count Grint. "Don't tell me you've been meeting with her Hurt?" Caitlin frantically waves her hands. No, it's not Therian Hurt," as her father stumbles back. Internally, Caitlin panics. "I reflexively denied it. What if Dad storms over to Hurt's place now?" She vividly imagines her father causing a massive scene, dramatically calling out Therian Hurt. Caitlin strategizes with Jenga blocks, calm Dad and Alex, then go to Hurt's herself to discuss the baby. Just as she's forming a plan, a servant announces, "My lady, Sir Hurt has just arrived," sending her Jenga tower and composure crashing. Caitlin despairs at the universe's timing. Could it be any worse? Did he inherit this awful timing from his father, too? Sandwiched between her equally tense father and brother, Caitlin wonders if Hurt's sudden appearance is about Ansior. Caitlin, bracing for impact, orders the servant, "Guide him here instead of the reception room," for a sudden face-to-face. Sir Hurt strides in, his polished shoes clicking, and formally addresses Count Grint. With a confident smile, Sir Hurt declares, "I've come to formally propose to your daughter, Lady Grint." Count Grint and Alex's jaws collectively hit the floor, their faces a picture of pure shock. Caitlin, hand to her mouth, internally screams, "Why are you the one who's surprised?" A quick flashback shows Sir Hurt arriving at the Grint estate, revealing he wasn't planning to go straight to Count Grint from the start. The servant had informed Sir Hurt, "Lady Kate is currently with Count Grint. Since the Count is also looking for you, I'll escort you there." Sir Hurt, ever so slightly intrigued, had simply replied, "Very well." And so began the tense showdown, a true face-off between lion and tiger, with Caitlin and Alex watching nervously. Count Grint, regaining his composure, coolly inquires, "What brings you all the way to my manor?" Sir Hurt, ever direct, announces to the Count, "I have something to tell you." The Count, already weary, dismisses any talk of Moore or DeForge, while Caitlin nervously watches. "That's not why I'm here," Sir Hurt clarifies, piquing the Count's curiosity. Internally, Sir Hurt weighs his words, knowing revealing the pregnancy directly would spark the Count's ire. He also considers that asking to date her might muddle his intentions regarding the DeForge investigation. Sir Hurt aims to show Caitlin his sincerity in taking responsibility, as she frets over her own dwindling excuses. Then, in a move no one expected, Sir Hurt kneels before Count Grint. "I've come to formally propose to your daughter, Lady Grint," he declares as the Count recoils in shock. Now seated, the Count cuts to the chase, staring at Sir Hurt. "So you're the baby's father?" Utterly bewildered, the Count tries to piece it together. "Hold on, so you were seeing Ansior and then this guy too?" Caitlin quickly clarifies, "That's not it, father. I wouldn't say Brother Ansior and I were ever really dating." Sir Hurt then asks if he and Caitlin were seeing each other, to which she internally stammers, "That's not it either." The Count, utterly misreading the room, explodes, "Wait, what? You weren't even dating my daughter, but still, did that—" As the Count clutches his chest, exclaiming about his blood pressure, Sir Hurt desperately tries to interject, "Count, that's not what I meant." Sir Hurt, hand to his chest, declares, "We weren't lovers, but I never once took my relationship with Lady Grint lightly." Caitlin watches him, a single thought echoing, "Sir Hurt?" She internally marvels, "You lie so well without even blinking," as her father fumes about trusting a guy who just showed up out of nowhere. The Count roars, "You think I raised my daughter for this? This isn't a joke," while Alex pleads for him to calm down. Sir Hurt, ever the dramatist, bows deeply, "I won't fight back until you cool down. Hit me if you must." "You think I'm weak 'cause I'm old?" the Count bellows, hand raised to strike as Alex screams, "Dad!" And Sir Hurt braces for impact. Caitlin leaps to Sir Hurt's defense, shouting, "He said he'll take responsibility!" Her father, utterly flabbergasted, can only point and sputter, You! Defeated, Count Grint collapses onto the sofa, lamenting, "Raising kids is truly a thankless job." With a weary sigh, he concedes, "Fine, prepare for the wedding before it's too obvious." Acceptance unlocked. Later, the Count confronts Caitlin privately. "Just how long were you planning to keep this a secret?" Caitlin, ever the optimist, replies, "Well, you know now. Let's focus on the bright side. Sorry for the delay." Stretching with relief, Caitlin exclaims she can finally breathe as Sir Hurt gently asks about her well-being. She beams. "I'm fine now, though for a bit there I thought I was a goner." Sir Hurt, looking genuinely remorseful, quietly offers, "I'm sorry." Caitlin playfully notes his new casual tone, and he coolly suggests she can be informal too, future wife. Caitlin, with a playful smirk, reminds Sir Hurt she's 6 years his junior, so she'll ease into informality. Sir Hurt, ever so smooth, announces he'll be calling her Kaith from now on, much to her internal amusement. Caitlin mulls over a nickname for him, landing on Teary, as his metaphorical cat ears perk up instantly. Terry, now sporting actual cat ears and a wagging tail in a cute visual gag, eagerly asks if she likes the name. Delighted by his reaction, Caitlin confirms, "Terry it is," before noticing a quill and paper. "But what's this?" With a bright smile, Caitlin declares she's drafting their marriage contract for a happy life together, leaving Terry a bit skeptical. As she begins writing Article 1, Caitlin acknowledges their messy start, but appreciates Terry's courage in proposing. She muses this contract is the best she can offer, formally naming Therius Hurt and Catherine Grint, as Terry watches. Caitlin proudly presents her first clause. Shall respect each other's freedom to date others as long as it causes no trouble. Terry is utterly flabbergasted, rendered speechless by this rather unconventional contractual term. Terry's hand snatches the contract from Caitlin with a sharp thwack. With a decisive rip, Terry tears her carefully crafted marriage contract in two. Caitlin stares aghast as Terry declares, "So, we're not doing the whole happy marriage thing." "What's your problem?" Caitlin demands, while Terry coldly dismisses her efforts. "I don't need it. Don't bother." Terry, radiating an icy aura, tells her, "Just stay out of the way," clearly finding her frustrating to watch. Their bickering escalates, with Caitlin calling him stubborn and Terry sarcastically agreeing, before they argue about honorifics. Elsewhere, an observer sighs, "Who? A knight arguing like a child with a young lady, honestly." Caitlin, now walking through town, internally frets, "I'm worried about their future." She realizes the recent chaos meant no visits to Catherine's, especially with Lady Merrill now on extended liberating leave. Determined, Caitlin decides, "I'll break the wedding news and spend the night at Catherine's." Peeking around a corner, Caitlin spots an unexpected visitor, her eyes widening in surprise. It's Brother Ansior, looking rather pensive, prompting Caitlin to question his sudden appearance. She spies Ansior standing solemnly before Catherine's house, a truly puzzling sight. A dreadful thought suddenly strikes Caitlin, her expression shifting to one of dawning horror. She imagines Ansior like a dishonored knight, contemplating a grim final act. Caitlin fears he's here for a last heartbreaking farewell to Catherine, picturing a bittersweet memory. The sheer terror of this possibility makes Caitlin gasp, her hand flying to her mouth. She visualizes the devastating outcome if Ansior were to meet such an end. A poignant memory surfaces, the original Catherine tearfully recalling how Ansior once saved her life. The flashback continues, Catherine remembering the Count's kindness, saving her and her mother from a desperate fate. In the flashback, Catherine explains her lifelong gratitude to the Count for saving her. Catherine then insists Caitlin should also be grateful to Brother Ansior. Caitlin back then had simply smiled, genuinely hoping for Catherine and Ansior's happiness. Now Caitlin panics. If Ansior dies because of me, how could Catherine ever look at me again? Catherine's past words echo, "Caith, you said you liked Brother Ansior." Caitlin recalls Catherine questioning if Ansior, a lifesaver, was so easily discarded, fearing her own abandonment. Stealing her resolve, Caitlin declares, "If Ansior's made a knight's decision, I'm the only one who can stop him." She sprints towards him, nearly tripping, desperately calling out, "Wait, Brother Ansior!" Ansior, hearing her call, turns around with a look of utter surprise. As Caitlin reaches him, Ansior can only utter a confused, "What?" while the actual Catherine watches from nearby, equally stunned. But instead of a grim farewell, Caitlin plants a passionate kiss on a bewildered Ansior, as the real Catherine peeks from around the corner. Catherine's eye widens in sheer, unadulterated shock at the scene unfolding. The unexpected kiss continues, leaving Ansior completely frozen and Catherine utterly aghast. "What is that?" Catherine gasps internally, her world tilting on its axis. Later, heart-wrenching sobs echo from Catherine's room. She's found face down on her bed, utterly inconsolable. Her maid gently urges, "Milady, please stop crying and eat something." But Catherine's despair is too deep. Lifting her tear-streaked face, Catherine wails, "If it were you, would you be able to eat right now?" The maid sighs, "I told you, didn't I? That Catherine woman gives me a bad feeling," as Catherine continues to weep. "It's always Brother Ansior this, Brother Ansior that," the maid fumes. "She didn't even save him, so why the hero worship?" The maid fumes that Caitlin's "he saved my life" routine for 10 years is practically brainwashing, as Catherine sobs. She then spills a rumor. Lady Merrill losing Catherine that day caused all this, making her think Caitlin's praise for Ansior was guilt-ridden. But the maid's fury ignites, realizing Caitlin was brazenly praising her man right in front of a heartbroken Catherine. Catherine weakly questions their brief acquaintance, but the maid snaps, "How can you be sure with their recent drama?" A single tear traces a path from Catherine's eye, her sorrow palpable as she lies defeated. Meanwhile, Caitlin muses that Ansior probably likes the other Catherine, a shocking, then curious, revelation to her. Caitlin ponders deeply. Why was Catherine so desperate to pair her with Ansior Moore? She theorizes Count Moore wouldn't accept a commoner, a truth Catherine knew, forcing secret meetings. Perhaps Catherine thought linking Ansior to a friend was better than him ending up with a stranger, if she couldn't have him. Caitlin is left utterly baffled, wondering, what on earth is the other Catherine truly scheming? Caitlin lies in bed, utterly perplexed by the other Catherine's motives. Her maid announces an unexpected visitor. "Milady, Sir Hurt has arrived." The maid, clearly a fan, dashes off to greet him, much to Caitlin's alarm. Terry stands at the door, his expression unreadable as Caitlin tries to halt her enthusiastic servant. He immediately notices her distress, asking bluntly, "What's this? Did you cry?" Caitlin, though visibly upset, attempts to maintain her composure before him. She deflects, questioning his informal tone, while he formally presses if she's been crying. Terry, sensing trouble, gently inquires if something happened, but Caitlin clams up. His scarred hand firmly grips her shoulder, turning her to face his scrutiny. Leaning in, Terry demands answers. "Why won't you say anything? Did something really happen?" Terry's dark aura intensifies as he grills Caitlin. "Did you meet Ansior Moore? Is it like last time?" Forcing a frantic denial. Caitlin pushes back. "Everyone has secrets. Don't pressure me with that scary face." And Terry seems to relent, looking down. He plops down beside her on the bed, a surprisingly casual move that startles Caitlin. Caitlin, observing his back, cautiously asks, "Are you worried about me? That's unexpected." Turning to face him fully, she presses, "But really, why did you come here, Sir Hurt?" A sly, almost imperceptible smile plays on Terry's lips as he meets her gaze. He extends a hand, a surprisingly gentle invitation. "I thought it might be nice to have a meal together." Terry then drops the real reason, his hand softly caressing her cheek. "I came to invite you to my house. Since we'll be living together soon anyway," he adds smoothly, "I wanted to introduce you to the people there." But noticing her state, Terry turns to leave. "Judging by your condition, today's not the day. I'll come again." Caitlin realizes Terry's visit is a bold peace offering, him swallowing his pride for a meal together. A subtle, almost smug smile graces Terry's lips as he simply says, "All right, I'll go," Caitlin decides, refusing to let the past dictate her future any longer. Beaming with newfound resolve, she exclaims, "I want to go," ready to reclaim lost time. Terry escorts a determined Caitlin from the carriage, his hand steady on hers. Approaching Terry's home, Caitlin can't help but compare its modest grandeur to her own sprawling estate. "Welcome, my lady," Terry announces, leading her into his domain. A new face appears, expressing genuine honor at finally meeting Caitlin in person. With a charming smile and a flourish, he introduces himself. "I am Glenn, the steward." Caitlin is clearly charmed, but Terry deadpans, "Stop smiling with your eyes," as Glenn feigns innocence. Terry dryly tells Glenn to drop the sickening fake smile, while Caitlin notes their surprisingly casual dynamic. A warm, matronly figure greets Lady Caith with a freshly prepared salad, her smile genuine. "You must be hungry," she exclaims, ushering Caitlin in, who silently acknowledges the hard work of the household staff. Glenn, ever the gentleman, pulls out a chair for Caitlin, earning a polite thank you. Caitlin is perplexed. She should be feeling nauseous right now, but strangely, she feels perfectly fine. The kind woman reveals she heard about Caitlin's severe morning sickness and specially prepared the meal to suit her. She explains her origins. "I come from a northern country called Hervinia," gesturing to a map. Hervinian cuisine, she details, features lightly seasoned dishes, perhaps why its women rarely suffer morning sickness. She then instructs Glenn to bring a special tea she brewed, a perfect accompaniment to the Hervenian salad. Turning to a pouting Terry, she chides, "Stop sulking, young master. No meat today because of the lady's condition," as he glares at his plate of greens. Caitlin observes Terry's childish pout, thinking he and the matronly woman resemble a bickering mother and son. Terry begrudgingly nibbles his greens as the woman teases him, a casual dynamic Caitlin finds surprisingly fitting for him. With a hesitant spoonful of the specially prepared dish, Caitlin's eyes widen in genuine surprise. "This is delicious," Caitlin beams as the relieved cook happily offers to prepare it for her anytime. The matronly woman, utterly charmed, can't help but think how lovely their future lady is. She then muses aloud how precious a child taking after Caitlin's snow-white, rabbit-like adorableness would be. Glenn, ever the instigator, cheekily interjects, "And what if they take after the master instead?" The woman fondly recalls a young, surprisingly cute Terry, before sighing that time can be cruel. A flustered Terry cuts off the sentimental trip down memory lane, while the cook still beams at Caitlin's loveliness. The staff offer their assistance before departing, leaving Caitlin to enjoy her surprisingly delightful meal. Caitlin muses that somehow, Sonia's warm presence and gentle voice are deeply comforting. She reflects that while Sonia doesn't resemble her mother, she's a poignant reminder of her, especially in age. A bittersweet memory surfaces. Her mother often spoke of marrying the one she loved most in the world. Her mother's greatest joy was Caitlin, born from that love, and she wished for her daughter to find such happiness too. Taking a bite, Caitlin silently apologizes to her mother, a wave of melancholy washing over her. She laments growing up without experiencing true love, and just months ago, Terry was a complete stranger. Now she's tied to this reckless and cold man, love seeming an impossible dream, as Terry looks on, perplexed by her sudden gloom. Her sorrowful face reflects in her teacup. She questions why a loveless marriage is her fate. Even Ancior and the other Catherine found their romance. Why is she the only one left out in the cold? Terry, ever observant, cuts through her thoughts. Lady Grint, is something wrong? As Caitlin internally battles her wildly fluctuating emotions. Terry, sensing her deep distress, states with sudden finality, I won't do it, prompting a confused pardon from Caitlin. Caitlin then drops her own bombshell, voice trembling but firm, I'm not going through with this marriage. Terry's composure shatters, his eyes wide with utter disbelief as he exclaims, What? He demands, Lady Grint, what are you saying right now? But she stands her ground. I pity myself too much to go through with it. Terry's temper flares, his hand crashing onto the table as he roars, Caith Grint, making her visibly recoil. He rises, his voice a low command, Sit down, while a startled Caitlin stammers, What is this sudden intimidation? Terry ignores her, coolly producing a document and slapping it down forcefully in front of her. It's a marriage registration document, and his instruction is chillingly simple. Sign here, Lady Grint. Caitlin's face is a mask of pure horror. He's actually trying to force her hand right now. No way! I said no! She protests, waving her hands frantically, but Terry, arms crossed, retorts, Stop making this difficult and do it. Terry, ever prepared, fans out a stack of marriage registrations, much to Caitlin's disbelief at his thoroughness. Exasperated, Terry questions her sudden change. If not me, who are you planning to marry? As Caitlin seethes at his audacity. I'll marry someone else, Caitlin retorts, boasting her esteemed family, youth, and perfect suitability for romance. Terry's eye twitches, a dangerous glint appearing as he processes her defiant words. Someone else? He grabs her, his voice low and possessive. Caith Grint, you're carrying my child. Terry pulls her dramatically close, his face inches from hers. And yet, you dare talk about marrying someone else? Caitlin internally scoffs at his rigid sense of knightly duty and his outdated belief in taking responsibility. She muses that loving a wife sincerely is another matter entirely, and expecting romance with this man is a fool's errand. With a firm shove, Caitlin pushes Terry away, creating distance between them. I'm leaving, don't follow me, she declares, storming off as Terry bellows, Caith Grint, at least tell me why. Caitlin whirls around, her voice ringing with defiance. I don't want a marriage without love. She vanishes in a huff, leaving a stunned Terry reaching out to an empty space. Terry's mind short-circuits, his expression a perfect, what? Of utter confusion. The scene shifts. A different blue-haired Lady Grint is greeted at a tea party. Long time no see? Been busy? This Lady Grint blushes, coyly admitting, a little embarrassing, but I've been busy seeing someone, prompting excited curiosity. She drops the bombshell. It's Commander Theris Hurt. The ladies gasp, knowing his top-tier reputation. The tea party erupts into a collective, What? As the blue-haired Caitlin sits smugly. Her friends are floored. See, Commander Hurt? The Theris Hurt. No way, while she just sips her tea. Are you serious? They press, as she internally reveals. I wasn't planning this, but Father said to lay the groundwork early, she muses, picturing her wedding to Theris, a strategic move to avoid gossip. The gossipy Lady Everglot gushes, demanding all the deets on how this Caitlin snagged the capital's most eligible man. Blue-haired Caitlin vaguely credits her brother, while another lady speculates if Theris shunned others because of her. Internally, however, this Caitlin isn't thrilled with Theros, admitting she'll fib for her family's sake, despite the bitter taste. Lady Everglot, ever the pot-stirrer, then pries about Caitlin's past with a certain Sir Moore. Her friends leap to Caitlin's defense, insisting she was the one who endured far too much from Sir Moore. One friend passionately declares that Caitlin's past affection for Sir Moore didn't erase her visible suffering. They recall Sir Moore's blatant neglect, like sending an empty carriage for Caitlin in the rain, proving he just didn't care. Blue-haired Caitlin grimaces internally, desperately wanting to erase that pathetic chapter from her memory. Another lady then brings up the juicy rumor: Commander Hurt dueling Sir Moore at House Grint and winning, setting the capital abuzz. Sipping her tea with unruffled poise, blue-haired Caitlin coolly thinks, took them long enough to ask? Lady Everglot, practically vibrating with curiosity, presses, so it was a love duel? Winner gets the girl, right? Blue-haired Caitlin, ever so composed, places her teacup down. No, it wasn't like that, as the ladies lean in, dying to know more. With a knowing smile, she admits she's not entirely sure, but a deforged duel is, technically, for covering up a knight's little oopsie. Digging into it is considered bad form, she concludes, as her friends nod, finally understanding the delicate social dance. Sensing the conversation needs a swift redirect, blue-haired Caitlin brightly asks, speaking of which, where's Lady Blanc? One lady notes Lady Blanc's prolonged absence, wondering aloud if she's perhaps unwell. Another friend whispers conspiratorially, sounds like Lady Grint hasn't heard the rumors yet, piquing Caitlin's immediate interest. The red-haired gossip leans in, eyes wide, and drops the bombshell in a hushed tone. Lady Blanc, she's pregnant. Blue-haired Caitlin, caught completely off guard, executes a perfect tea-spewing spit take of epic proportions. What? She splutters as the friend explains Lady Blanc's been hiding, but was spotted with a very noticeable baby bump. The gossip continues, revealing Lady Blanc panicked when confronted, and now plans to raise the child alone, refusing to name the father. Blue-haired Caitlin is aghast that the father's identity is a secret, while another lady speculates he bailed and Blanc is protecting him. The ladies sneer that no decent noble would take a no-name baron's daughter seriously, glad she's no longer in their exclusive circle. They judge Lady Blanc's choices, insinuating she wasn't thinking clearly and perhaps saw the situation as a way to elevate her status. One lady even smirks, calling Blanc foolish and claiming her actions reflect poorly on all women. Blue-haired Caitlin has heard enough, slamming her teacup down as she internally questions if trusting someone is truly a mistake. Change her life? Caitlin scoffs, her voice dripping with disdain. If you can't offer sympathy, at least don't hurl insults. She leaps to her feet, challenging their cruel words. Are you even women to speak so callously of another? Caitlin demands an explanation, sharply advising them to learn discretion, lest they prove the rumors about airheaded salon hostesses true. Enough with the rank shaming, she snaps. You preach modesty, yet your obsession with status is the most ignoble trait of all. As the ladies backpedal, blue-haired Caitlin declares she doesn't belong there and won't be returning. With a curt, take care of yourselves, she makes her exit, leaving the red-haired gossip calling her name. Striding away, Caitlin internally admits she saw a reflection of herself in Lady Blanc's plight. She reflects that she lost her composure, realizing if Theris hadn't proposed, she might have faced their scorn. Pausing on the stairs, Caitlin considers that all that vicious gossip could easily have been directed at her, not Sylvia. Her thoughts are interrupted as she spots a familiar figure. Commander Hurt? Commander Hurt turns, his gaze meeting hers with a calm, knowing expression. Caitlin asks how he found her, and he coolly explains her family directed him to the tea party. His presence instantly reminds her of their previous, rather intense conversation. He directly questions her past declaration, that you don't want a marriage without love. What exactly did you mean? Caitlin stands firm. Exactly what I said. I don't want to be in a loveless marriage. She elaborates, desiring a marriage with someone who truly loves her, where love blossoms first. Then she quickly dismisses her own heartfelt wish. I know, it sounds childish, right? Caitlin tries to wave it off as nonsense, but Theris cuts in. Then that relationship you want? He turns, a hint of a blush on his cheek. Can't it be with me? Caitlyn's chibi form perfectly captures her utter disbelief. Eh? Theris reasons since they're marrying anyway. If love is what you need, doesn't it make sense to try falling in love with me? She stammers, Well, yes, but what about the whole chill, casual dynamic we agreed on? Her tiny self freaks out. Are you saying you can really fall in love with me? As Theris sighs, what have you been hearing until now? He states plainly, I've been saying I want to try dating you this whole time. That hasn't changed one bit. Theris, ever the romantic pragmatist, admits their approach is unconventional, but insists genuine feelings are all that matter. Caitlyn is utterly floored, her brain practically short-circuiting at this sudden turn of events. Hope blooming, she tentatively asks if he's serious about dating her exclusively, even mentioning her secret, happy marriage clause. Theris, a knight of honor, scoffs at the idea he'd ever be unfaithful, especially with a wife. He clarifies that her stress-inducing clauses aren't needed, but neither is she allowed a free relationship, revealing the clause was for her benefit. Their chibi selves bicker, Theris exasperated by her assumptions, Caitlyn bristling at his tone. Caitlyn, in a moment of clarity, thinks, good heavens, as the implications of his words sink in. She internally marvels at the transformation. The man who supposedly hated marriage and kids, who proposed a partnership, is now talking about love. Caitlyn wonders if his grand romantic gesture is purely because he knew her deep desire to experience dating, a surprisingly considerate thought. A new, hopeful realization dawns. Perhaps this Terry is far more wonderful than she ever dared to imagine. Caitlyn internally squeals, This is my first time ever having a boyfriend. Her face a picture of pure, unadulterated joy. Her maid enthusiastically declares, My lady, trust me, Sir Hurt is the best man you could ask for. As Caitlyn cautiously asks, Really? Can I trust you on that? The maid, now depicted as a radiant angel, confidently asks, Have you ever met anyone with better judgment than me? To which Caitlyn instantly replies, No, I trust you. A close-up on Caitlyn's eye, a thoughtful expression as she muses, Come to think of it. Spotting a stack of sealed envelopes, Caitlyn asks, What are these? And her maid explains they're greeting letters from trading companies, needing to be sorted. Caitlyn recalls, Right, Madame Merrill is returning soon, isn't she? And the maid confirms, Yes, in 3 days. The maid, holding a letter, chuckles, I really need to get these sorted soon. I lost track of time chatting like this. It's explained that as the new year approaches, trading partners send thank you letters, and replies are only sent to those they'll continue business with. This task, once handled by Caitlyn's mother, has been managed by Madame Merrill since her passing, shown through a flashback of sealing letters. Caitlyn offers, Want me to help? But the maid playfully challenges, My lady, do you even know where we order our food supplies from? Or where we get our kitchen tools? Caitlyn, holding a letter, cheekily admits she's only offering to help sort mail because she's bored, and Amy, her maid, isn't surprised. The camera pans over various greeting letters, from Brewer's Butcher Shop to Madame Viva's Antique Interiors, each with its own distinct flair. Caitlyn, however, stumbles upon one peculiar letter, tilting her head as she wonders, What kind of store is this? This oddball letter, addressed by a person's name instead of a company, bluntly asks, Shall we resume our business? Making Caitlyn scoff at its audacity. Amy, is this even a real business? Caitlyn questions, while Amy calmly suggests unrecognized senders are usually herbal suppliers. Amy clarifies these are likely old contacts from when Caitlyn's mother was alive, still sending greetings out of habit. A poignant flashback reveals Caitlyn's late mother, heavily reliant on medicines, for whom Madame Merrill sourced rare and costly herbs. Understanding dawns, and Caitlyn decides, Then I guess we won't be needing this one, as Amy offers to dispose of the outdated correspondence. The camera focuses on the pile of letters, the mysterious personal note resting atop the stack of discarded business ties. Suddenly, the scene shifts to a dimly lit room where a lone, blonde-haired man sits hunched on a bed, lost in thought. A flashback reveals a clandestine meeting, feet close, hinting at a past connection. In this memory, a blonde woman's hand gently yet firmly tilts a man's chin upwards. The blonde man, Answer, blushes, internally steeling himself. He's the only one who can break her, right? The blonde woman, likely Sylvia, coolly asks, Who did I say I'd give my love to? the man of Caitlin Grint. Her gaze intensifies. If you're not Caitlin's man, then I don't think I could ever love you, Answer. Answer, pained but resolute, whispers, Of course, that's how it should be. His eyes betray a fierce determination. That position should belong to no one else but me. The scene shifts to a blue-haired young lady, her expression filled with remorse. I never should have said that to Caitlin at Henna Tavern that night. In a brighter memory, she beams, Didn't you say there was no training today? She offers a neatly wrapped gift. Brother, this is for you. I bought it because I thought it would suit you. Sylvia's voice echoes, You promised to marry her, so why couldn't you even date her? Ansir admits his folly. I thought a few sweet words would smooth everything over. But in a stark memory, Caitlin sits resolute. I still believe calling off our wedding is best, Answer. He's left wondering, what could have possibly changed Caitlin so completely? Then, a chilling realization hits him, his eyes widening. Don't tell me. It was Theris Hurt. Answer recalls Theris as just a superior, someone with absolutely no connection to Caitlin. Yet, he vividly remembers the day Theris confronted him, his words cutting deep. Theris had warned with icy fury, If your actions harm her again, I'll ensure you never get another chance. Ansir knew then. That wasn't just a knight protecting a lady. It was something far more personal. He clenches his fist, tormented. Damn it! Just when did those two even... We cut to a lavish estate gleaming under a golden sun, troubles brewing in high society. Meet Catherine, Ansir's sister, taking a solitary contemplative walk through the grand courtyard. Well, look who it is. Catherine spots her father approaching, her expression carefully neutral. Her father, dripping with false charm, exclaims, Isn't it Catherine? It's been so long. He proposes a grand family meal to celebrate Meryl's upcoming visit, but Catherine's smile is pure ice. How utterly laughable! Catherine sneers internally, seeing right through his benevolent facade. His image warps in her mind as her silent judgment continues. And how disgusting. She knows this generous meal for a mere maid is just his pathetic attempt at reputation management. In her scathing opinion, he's merely trying to whitewash the disgrace brought by his wife and daughter. Catherine coolly declines, busy with her own mother's return, as Dad shoves Ansir towards Caitlin, since Meryl is visiting their estate anyway. Catherine clenches her dress, instantly suspicious. Troublemaker? Did she do something again? Dad waves her off. Go ask her yourself, she's probably dying to tell you, while internally lamenting his own pathetic feelings about half-hearted affection. He smirks, still thinking of Caitlin as that troublemaker, oblivious to the storm brewing in his daughter. Catherine's smile is pure ice as she internally vows, and I wouldn't be feeling this urge for revenge either. As her father dismisses her, Catherine recalls the misery of being near Caitlin, a feeling her own mother knew all too well. Striding down the opulent hall, Catherine remembers her mother found her own way to overcome humiliation. Reaching a grand door, Catherine declares, Now it's my turn, even as she casually mulls over banquet attire. With a dazzling smile, Catherine throws open the door, calling, Caith, her mind set. I'll get my revenge on the Count in my own way, too. Catherine's deceptively sweet face fills the doorway as an unseen Caitlin starts. You're... Caitlin, stunning in red and black with Amy by her side, looks utterly surprised by Catherine's sudden, cheerful appearance. Caitlin, caught off guard by Catherine's beaming entrance, can only manage a surprised, Oh, you're here? But Catherine, ever observant, halts her with a sly smile. Wait right there. What is this?